This video will change your life. I'm about to teach you how to use affirmations in a way that is guaranteed to work, in the exact way that I've used them in my own life. So if you follow the manifesting instructions in this video, things are going to change fast. They will have to change for the better. Your life will have to improve. There's no way that it cannot. So listen closely. You're not going to want to miss a single step. Let's start by talking about why affirmations don't work for most people. Well, to start with, they feel fake. They feel just like lies you are trying to tell yourself. Even if you say them 1,000 times a day, saying them that many times is not going to make them feel more real. Because what is staring you in the face, what your physical eyes see, will always feel more like the truth. For example, someone who says, I am a multimillionaire 1,000 times a day will never actually generate wealth. Big reason why repetitious affirmations do not work is that an actual multimillionaire would not think this way. They would not reaffirm their wealth 1,000 times a day. Instead, they would be doing, they would be being. It is deep within them, that wealth consciousness, that knowingness that this is who they are. Let's take the example of someone trying to manifest their perfect love relationship, their perfect partner. If you repeat throughout the day, all day long, that you are already loved, that you are already in this relationship, that your person is talking to you, it will only really remind you of that person isn't actually there. Because if you had this dream relationship, if you had this partner, you would just know these things inside. It would feel part of you. It would just feel like who you are, and your mentality, your mindset would actually be completely different. So think of things that you have in your life right now that are just constantly there. Where you live, the job you have, the relationships in your life. You don't constantly reaffirm their existence all day long, but you do at times contemplate them. Contemplate the way the things show up in your life. And when you do this, it's probably maybe once or twice, but it is felt as such truth that they're just things that are deep knowing inside of you. So we can get affirmations to work by taking the same model. Because affirmations really are just self talk, it's deliberate self talk. But the trick is we want it to be self talk that feels similar to the way that you would actually be if you had it. And this is why repetitious affirmations don't work, because they don't create the feeling that you would have if you had it, because they're just words. The actual words mean very little. We don't say affirmations, we don't speak of self talk because of the actual words. The words really mean nothing. And that's why when I see people going to such trouble to try to get the wording just right, I feel so bad because they're missing the most important part. The most important part is the feeling that it is creating. So you choose words that create that feeling inside of you. And usually those words come really, really naturally because we're naturally talking to ourselves all day long in our mind. We're naturally commenting on things. We're naturally contemplating things. Like when we contemplate, we take on such a sense of deliberate creativity. Contemplation is looking at something from many different angles. You look at different hypotheticals. You look at how this particular experience seemed in the past, how it is in the present, how you think it's going to be in the future, how it makes you feel. You contemplate something from many different ways of looking at it. And contemplation is something we do so naturally. We are creative beings and we want to create. And we create through contemplation. We create through imagining things, through our thoughts, our feelings, our memories. And the way that you get your life to change for the better is by contemplating on the idea of the things that you want. So, the reason why things don't change for most people is because they choose to contemplate things they currently have. So, their inner conversations are all an opinion of the way things currently are, usually being that these circumstances are frustrating, they're troubling, they're upsetting, hurtful, uh, how it's not enough. And people normally take a lot of focus on this. People talk to other people, talk to friends, talk to people on social media about the current circumstances. And this contemplation takes the assumption that circumstances will always be this way. So we focus on things, we contemplate things, we have self talk about things, how they currently are, and this assumption that they will always be that way. Now, we can look from many different angles with feeling on the things that we actually want and actually make it feel real. And this is exactly how I changed my own situation because things weren't always good for me. And when I was in such a stuck situation of life, seemingly dealing me all of these unfair circumstances where none of the areas of my life were working. Right now, all of your life may not be working. And you might have been trying these affirmations as a means of improving it. And I want you to succeed because affirmations can work, but when we realize it's really just deliberate self-talk, we can be more powerful in our approach of how to actually use it for our benefit. So it needs to feel natural self-talk, except better self-talk. That's exactly what affirmations that work actually are. And usually these are affirmations you say once. And I want to tell you that self talk said once with feeling is the exact way to get it to work because that is exactly why your life looks the way it is right now, is because you've made these opinions, assumptions with feeling, probably just once. And that's why things are exactly the way they are right now. And that's how you got to this place, too. Now, the best way to change this is to take a look at what your current self talk is. So, knowing this will be vital to understanding how to deliberately use affirmations or deliberately change self talk in a way that will actually work for you. And, like I said, guaranteed to work. Because when you do this right, it is going to work every single time. Like, there's no way it can't work. And I can't stress that enough. And I'm not just saying that. I know this from personal experience. I know this because every single time I do this properly, it works pretty instantly. Something changes pretty fast. And there's a much easier way to get where you want to go than if you've been struggling, if you've been banging your head against the wall thinking you need to do more manifesting techniques or you need to do more forms of belief, or maybe you think you have too much negativity within you. Maybe you've been blaming yourself for not doing good enough. There's a much easier way. So I want you to get out a notepad and I want you to start by writing down your knee jerk thoughts throughout the day. And what I mean by this is the things that come automatically that you feel drawn to contemplating, thinking about in depth, not just the passing thoughts throughout the day. Because if we wrote down the passing thoughts, there'd be way too many things to write down. So instead, I want you to write down just the big things that you think about during the day. Again, the things that you contemplate. So the things that you sustainably think about. So you think about for long periods of time these thoughts and these ideas that are repeating themselves, that keep coming into your mind. Now, I don't care how negative it is. I want you to write it down anyway. I want you to just be calm as you take note. Act as the observer. Don't react. You want to be as strong as possible. So we gain strength in knowledge. We need to understand where your head is at right now if you're ever going to change it. You can't expect to suppress these negative themes that keep coming up in your mind and replace them with 10,000 positive affirmations during the day. Those affirmations will never work. It will never work. It will never change if you do not take the bold step of getting calm and just looking at these things that are trying to come into your mind, or these things that you find repeating themselves in your mind, these ideas that seem to show up a lot. So get a notepad, bring it throughout your entire day, and just write down these thoughts, these fears, these ideas, these things you think about in depth, the things that you feel compelled to think about. And I want you to let it all come to the surface so you can start to work on healing it. We need to understand your ideas. So, for example, when you're out and about, do you see a lot of people that maybe have the things that you want? Do you find yourself getting jealous of people in love relationships, almost like it's slapping you in the face? Throughout the day, do you find a lot of people criticize you? If they do, what are the types of things that they say? What are the things that keep showing up repetitiously? Do you keep having fears about money, not having enough money, not feeling good enough? What are the kinds of things that show up? Do you find yourself fearing a lot about third parties in terms of a specific person situation? Even if there isn't a third party, are you like afraid of some sort of competition will come in and take away what should be yours? You may even find the idea of competition comes up in money, like competition of losing a job or not being hired for a job, someone else gets it. What are these things that keep arriving in your mind that you feel compelled to contemplate and just write it down? Because again, we want to use affirmations as a way of natural self-talk, better self-talk for the things we actually want. Now, after you've done this exercise, and please take the time to do this because identifying what's going on in your mind, having a roadmap of it, will be instrumental in changing it, in healing it. So don't be afraid of it. It's okay. Now, you want to create affirmations and positive self talk in a way that feels comforting, in a way that feels like you're talking to yourself. I like to think of it as my higher self talking to me. So, my best self is telling me now that things are going to be okay, that when I get to the future, which of course we're always in the present moment, so we never actually reach the future, but we always think about time in terms of it being linear. So we always think of the future and how we want these things in the future. Now, think about your future self or your best self, your higher self, however you want to think about this. You could even think about it as like a guardian angel comforting you or the voice of God comforting you, whatever imagery makes sense to you that feels comforting. So, you're sort of using a means of self-talk as if it is someone comforting you, telling you things are going to be okay. So we're creating a feeling of that there's hope at the end of the tunnel. Now, that's not just hoping and wishful thinking because we're creating an inner state of feeling that has to be reflected in the screen of space. So when we create this inner peaceful knowing, backed up with positive self talk that feels natural, that feels normal, that feels like things we want to contemplate, we will, in fact, create change. And like I said, pretty instant change. And you'll know you're creating the right change if you feel better. Now, I don't care if nothing in your life has seemingly changed. I want you to stick with this anyway because the person that doesn't give up is the person that's going to succeed. And that is how I succeeded in my life through all of these unwanted circumstances, through all of these situations that where I said nothing in my life was working. Like I kept trying, I kept picking myself up. So you're going to try by comforting yourself. You're going to say things that are soothing, and these things can come naturally. Some examples are, you are going to be okay. There is an answer. Your problems won't last forever. Things are going to get better. Now, I know that none of this self talk was, for example, supposedly living in the end result as we would think of in a logistical way. But it actually was living in the end result because as I said those things, didn't you feel better? Like, didn't you feel instantly like, oh my God, things are going to be okay? Like this sigh of relief, like it's okay. So that feeling of it's okay actually is the end result. Like the words you are speaking, the affirmations that you are saying, because those were affirmations, the affirmations that you are saying do not have to specifically speak of the end result. They just have to make you feel the end result. So that's why I like these comforting affirmations as a means of starting the process. Like you can, if you end up building confidence within it yourself and then you want to get to bolder statements, you can. But if you build from that foundation of that soothing feeling, then the bigger, bolder statements won't feel like lies, won't feel like you are trying to convince yourself of something that's false. It's not going to feel that way. Like you can't just immediately jump to that state. You have to get into that soothed feeling first. So you are going to be okay. There is an answer. A miracle is going to happen. I believe in goodness. Goodness will find me. Life can be good to me. I am a good person. Like all of these things just feel very soothing. They feel very relaxed. So, self talk is meant to create an inner feeling of abundance. As we took the example before of someone who is rich, someone who has love, like they feel abundant inside. So, they've already created this feeling through whatever process. Maybe it was easy for them, maybe it wasn't. Maybe they just decided they didn't want to be the victim anymore. Who knows? In my particular case, it was that I was done being the victim. I was done being the sad, sorry person. So I just went out on a limb and started having self talk that was similar in this way and just started deciding I was done with being sad. I was done with feeling sorry for myself. I was done with that. So I was going to take an inner state and inner attitude of gratitude, of feeling better, of calm, of soothing, of that sort of brilliance. And I took that attitude without the attachment that that attitude was going to equal me success. But because I didn't take that attachment, it did equal me success. And that is why I said when this is done properly, it will work every single time. So you cannot do these things for any other reason but wanting to feel that goodness inside because that's how we all want to feel. We don't want these manifestations, these experiences, our life to change because it's going to make us feel bad. We want it to change because it's going to make us feel good. So the key element in manifesting it, in attracting it like a magnet, is adopting that inner feeling of good first and then you will vibrationally align with it. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know exactly why it works. I just know that when you adopt that inner state that matches up with how you would feel if you had the thing, you will get the thing every single time because the thing, the experience, the person, the money has to show up if you adopt that feeling inside. And we can adopt that feeling inside through deliberate self talk, through affirmations, but it has to be affirmations that create that feeling. And I want you to just experiment with your own self talk. But you know the self talk that makes you feel good, and you know the self talk that makes you feel bad. You know the self talk that makes you feel like you're trying to convince yourself. If you ever are attempting self talk that is that, it's not going to work. Like you're not going to suddenly feel abundant on the 10,000th verse repetition. You're just not. It's going to feel the same way it felt at the first time you said it. So if you repeat something 50 times, The 50th time will feel the same exact way as it did the first time. It's not going to stick. Self talk sticks because it's self talk that can be in the form of an affirmation, but an affirmation that's actually going to work. So we're creating feelings that are soothing, that are peaceful, that are relaxed. They all feel good. Again, they don't suggest the specific thing. They don't say in words that you are in the end result, but they make you feel that you are in the end result. If you compare this, if you say you are going to be okay, and then you compare that to I'm already okay. When you say I'm already okay, your eyes say no. No, you're not. Your brain says, nope, that's wrong. You're not okay. You have it wrong. And then you say it again. I'm okay. I'm already okay. Things are already better. I'm already rich. I'm a multimillionaire. Your brain says, no, you're lying. I feel myself capable of being a multimillionaire. You are going to be a multimillionaire one day. You can do it. Things like that, they just feel so much better. So when you proclaim something that your eyes can't see, your brain will always say, that's wrong. You're going to end up feeling naive, dumb, stupid, foolish. You want to say things with feeling in a means of contemplation. If I say something like, I have all of the money that I need. I have more than enough money to pay off my bills. That can be done properly if it's done once and then you contemplate what that would look like. But that said, many times without that contemplation, and I don't really even see how you can say that many times with contemplation without it monopolizing your day. And when it monopolizes your day, then you're definitely not in the end result because, again, that's not taking on the mental habits, the abundant feeling of having that level of income. So, an affirmation that says, I am this, can be done properly if it's said once. The things that you should be saying repetitiously throughout the day are the things of soothing. Like, you know what, it's going to get better. I will have enough money one day, and one day can be soon. And I give gratitude for the moment when I can have enough income to pay for everything I want and more. And I give thanks that the day will come where I am loved perfectly because I know I deserve to be loved and I am ready to be loved. Those are things that we can say deliberately. It has to feel natural, though. It has to feel, you have to attach that end result feeling with it. So I would start off with the soothing affirmations, the soothing self talk, the awareness of this soothing self talk. So it's not just that you sit down and do affirmations first thing in the morning. These are the things that you tell yourself throughout the day, the inner conversations that you have with yourself throughout the day. Like, again, that's why saying affirmations first thing in the morning and then going about your day doesn't really work because it's the part of going about your day that's going to have the impact on your tomorrows, not the affirmations you said in the morning. So, I want you to create an awareness of your inner self talk and don't try something like fake it till you make it because when you take a forceful approach with yourself, it will only feel like you are condemning who you are now, and it's almost like you are trying to push yourself into the you that you'd prefer to be, but it's almost like you're trying to escape the situation. Like you need to naturally flow from this state to the next. And you can, but not in a way that ever suggests constant repetition. Again, the things that we say over and over again without it coming from a natural state will never feel real. You'll just feel tired and nothing will change. And you'll feel like you've wasted time and this doesn't work. And those are the people that end up resenting the idea of manifesting. They say it doesn't work because, well, if you feel exhausted, you feel like giving up, you know you've been taking the wrong approach. So you never want to feel exhausted while manifesting. You want to feel lighter. So, what is the inner self talk or affirmations that you can say that make you feel lighter inside? Happier for no reason, calmer. I am capable of making double my income this year. I give thanks that there is a way to make double my income. I open myself up to all of the possibilities. You could say I'm capable of marrying my dream partner this year. I give thanks that there is a way to meet this person and have it be easy and have it work out and have it be better than anything I've experienced before. I open myself up to all of these possibilities in love. Then you contemplate it. And you don't refer to those words again. You just sort of contemplate, you daydream about the feeling of having these things. The peace, the relief, the excitement. You pick apart the hypotheticals, how you would love to have it happen. And that's okay. That's not messing with the middle because it's creating a feeling, what you would love to have happen. But you're open to all possibilities. So don't get stuck on the how, like, well, I don't see a route to this, so it must not be possible. It is possible. Just enjoy the feeling of it, the enjoyment of what that would be like. You want to see yourself as the kind of person that can have this. I am that special. I am that kind of person. I am being guided with every single moment to becoming that person. You'll know if an affirmation is said right, or if an inner conversation is right, or if inner monologue, inner chat, this dialogue that we have going on inside of ourselves. You will know that it's right because of how you feel. So if you feel you're saying these things and another voice is chiming in saying, no, no, it's almost like if you are having doubt that it could happen, try it in a more gentle way. Like, what if this could happen? Wouldn't it be lovely if this happened? I bet there is a way to making this happen. And don't be afraid that these things are implying that it happens at a future time because the wording is not important. The inner feeling is important. So if it is making you feel better about life and it is taking away your frustration and taking away that anxiety that you are experiencing, then you are living in the end result. You are doing the self talk properly.